Have you ever found yourself in a scenario where you began to develop feelings for your best friend's mother? Today, I'm about to share my true tale, from merely seeking a second opinion on the perfect shirt for a date, to the unforgettable moment when a 56-year-old woman locked eyes with me and declared, "And Oppos, I love you, and Oppos." This is a captivating slow-burn emotional romance story featuring consenting adults, 28 and 56 years old. It delves into intricate emotions and connections with meticulous attention and reverence. No explicit content. That night I hesitated at her door, the weight of my decision hanging in the air. I lingered on my porch for what felt like an eternity, 3 shirts cascading over my arm, wrestling with the notion that this was a foolish endeavor. Yet I forged ahead, and that single knock unleashed a whirlwind I was utterly unready to face. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ryan Callahan. At the age of 28, I am immersed in the dynamic world of plumbing, serving as a vital professional for a mid-sized contracting company located in the vibrant suburbs just outside Austin, Texas. This is not the type of profession that sparks lively conversations at social gatherings. No one hears the word "plumber" without leaning in, captivated by the intrigue it promises. Yet, I have never sought the admiration of others for my endeavors. Shattered pipes, gushing faucets, inundated basements, and clogged drains at the striking hour of 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. I arrive, assess the situation, and resolve the issue with precision. There exists an unparalleled sense of fulfillment in that moment. One does not resolve a plumbing issue through excessive contemplation. Dive right in and tackle the task at hand with determination. For the past 2 years, I have been residing in a charming 2-bedroom house on Carver Street. In this serene, time-honored neighborhood, majestic oak trees shed their vibrant leaves across the sidewalks each autumn, while friendly neighbors exchange warm waves from their driveways, creating a sense of community that feels both timeless and inviting. My place may not appear impressive at first glance. The kitchen cabinets stand at an unsettling angle. The bathroom tiles bear a conspicuous crack that stretches ominously along the left wall, and the backyard resembles a barren expanse of dirt, rather than a lush green oasis. Yet, it offers an undeniable sense of comfort. Silence envelopes the surroundings. It belongs to me. After years of navigating a whirlwind of apartments and relying on the kindness of friends, finally securing a stable address and establishing a functional routine feels like a monumental achievement. My closest companion since the 7th grade is a remarkable individual named Jake Bennett. Our paths crossed amidst the exhilarating atmosphere of middle school baseball tryouts. I launched a ball with such poor precision that it almost struck the coach, while Jake erupted in laughter, losing his balance and tumbling off the bench. Our bond has only grown stronger since that moment. We stand apart in numerous ways. Jake exudes an exuberant energy, captivating those around him with his vibrant personality. The type of individual who effortlessly remembers every name within moments of entering a room. I find myself in a more subdued state. I savor every moment. Yet, it is our contrasting qualities that create a perfect harmony, and that is precisely why our partnership thrives. We continue to meet for lunch every few weeks, exchanging silly videos at midnight as if we were still teenagers. Jake and Oppos' childhood unfolded just a mile and a half from my current residence. Lauren Bennett, his mother, has been an unwavering force in my life for nearly as long as Jake has been a part of it. At the age of 14, vivid memories flood my mind. Seated at her kitchen table post-practice, she savored the meal she had prepared that evening while intently listening to her recount the events of her day at the hospital. With more than 2 decades of experience, she stands as a seasoned registered nurse. Endless shifts, challenging cases, the type of work that utterly exhausts you. Yet she never once voiced a complaint in our presence. When Jake and Oppos' father abandoned them at the age of 16, she took it upon herself to maintain control and keep everything from unraveling. Settled the bills, maintained the household, and ensured Jake remained focused. I observed her accomplish everything with unwavering dedication, never once seeking acknowledgement for her efforts. Lauren Bennett stood as an unwavering beacon in my life. She was the mother of Jake. She was the remarkable woman who meticulously prepared extra sandwiches, fully aware that I often neglected to eat sufficiently before practice. She was the one who confronted me, with a delicate yet unmistakable clarity, when she believed I was on the verge of a poor choice. She offered guidance with a grace that only the truly compassionate possess, ensuring you never felt diminished for seeking her wisdom. There was an undeniable, unwavering confidence in her demeanor that captivated me from afar, leaving me to ponder the reasons behind my admiration without ever truly delving into them. She has reached the age of 56. She maintains her poise just as she always has. Leisurely, rooted firmly in reality, the type of woman who captivates a room, not through volume, but by her undeniable presence. I always keep my thoughts at bay, never daring to explore the implications of what that could signify. She was the mother of Jake. A line was drawn, and I honored it without hesitation. As I seized those 3 shirts from my bed that fateful Friday evening and made my way toward her house, it was merely a plea for assistance. Unadulterated and straightforward, I found myself completely at a loss for what to wear. For nearly 20 minutes, I found myself transfixed by the sight of those 3 shirts in my bedroom. The pale blue button-down exuded an air of rigidity, as if I were preparing for a high-stakes job interview. The dark olive Henley exuded an air of casualness that left me feeling as though I hadn't made any effort whatsoever. The white fitted tee hovered in a realm of ambiguity, leaving me questioning whether it was a bold statement of confidence or a mere display of indifference. I sought a second opinion from an individual with true discernment. Lauren instantly surged to the forefront of my thoughts. Several months prior, she had assisted me in selecting a jacket for a professional dinner, and that evening, 2 individuals had praised my choice. She possessed a remarkable talent for that kind of thing. She observed nuances that eluded the attention of the average passerby. I assured myself it would only require 5 minutes. I would present her with the shirts, she would select one with a decisive gesture, I would express my gratitude, and then I would make my way back home to prepare. Uncomplicated. Community-oriented. There is absolutely nothing remarkable about it whatsoever. With determination, I seized all 3 shirts and strode purposefully across the still street, heading straight for her house. The evening air hung heavy with warmth, a palpable stillness enveloping the surroundings. Crickets began their symphony in the shadows of the bushes lining the sidewalk. Several of her neighbors had already illuminated their porch lights, casting a warm glow into the evening air. Everything seemed utterly mundane. I ascended her front steps and rapped twice on the door. Little did I know that those 2 knocks would shatter my existence, marking a definitive divide between what was and what would be. She hesitated before responding. I found myself on her porch, shirts elegantly draped over my arm, immersed in the hushed symphony of the neighborhood surrounding me. A dog let out a piercing bark from somewhere down the block, echoing through the air. The car glided by with an air of suspense. Just as I was poised to knock again, I caught the sound of movement within, gentle footsteps approaching the door. As the door swung open, Lauren stood there, her expression a familiar testament to the exhaustion that followed a grueling shift. Not disheveled, not unraveling, but embodying a profound weariness that seeps into your very bones when your profession demands more than the average person comprehends. She donned an oversized navy sweatshirt, the type that exudes a sense of history, as if it had endured countless washes and adventures. Her hair was elegantly gathered in a loose bun, with a few rebellious strands cascading gracefully around her face. With both hands cradling the mug of chamomile tea, she treated it as though it were the most significant object in the entire room. Her gaze met mine, then shifted to the shirts draped over my arm, and a sly smile danced at the corner of her lips. If this story has your heart racing, I invite you to show your appreciation with a like. For those eager to delve deeper into captivating, slow-burn emotional narratives, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button on HLOARA immediately. We shall forge ahead on this thrilling journey alongside Ryan and Lauren, united in purpose. Ryan, what brings you here? I elevated the shirts with a flourish. Tonight is the night of my date, and I find myself in a whirlwind of uncertainty, desperately trying to determine which outfit will present me as a relatable, everyday person. Your assistance in selecting that jacket last winter truly paid off, as I received numerous compliments on it. I require your attention on this matter. She released a breath, a sound that danced on the edge of laughter and a sigh, and gracefully stepped back to allow me entry. Her house exuded a unique ambience, invitingly warm yet perfectly balanced. Books scattered across the side table, a candle reduced to a mere stub on the kitchen counter, family photos adorning the wall, each telling a story from years gone by. The air was infused with the aromatic essence of her herbal tea, intertwined with the delicate fragrance of lavender soap that lingered from the bathroom. I had traversed the halls of this house countless times, each visit etched in my memory. It always felt completely natural. It consistently resonated with its true essence, a sanctuary meticulously nurtured by its caretaker. I carefully arranged the 3 shirts across the back of her couch, each one a vibrant splash of color against the fabric. The pale blue button-down shirt stands out on the left, while the dark olive Henley commands attention in the center, and the white fitted tee completes the striking trio on the right. I took a step back, crossing my arms with a sense of determination. I seek your candid assessment without holding back. Lauren approached with deliberate slowness. She placed her mug on the coffee table with purpose and stood before the couch, scrutinizing each shirt as if she were deep in thought, fully engaged in the moment rather than merely casting a fleeting glance. With a delicate touch, she first caressed the blue fabric, letting it glide between her fingers. Then, with an air of anticipation, she shifted her attention to the olive Henley, before finally exploring the crisp white tee. She remained silent for what felt like an eternity. I observed her expression, anticipating the swift response I had anticipated. Perhaps something akin to the blue option, but certainly not the olive. A verdict delivered in a mere 2 seconds, just as she always did. Yet, her silence lingered far beyond the ordinary. I adjusted my stance, nearly unleashing a quip about the absurdity of struggling with 3 shirts. Yet, there was an undeniable intensity in her expression that compelled me to pause. She had turned her attention away from the shirts entirely. She fixed her gaze on the white one, yet her thoughts had ventured far beyond its surface. In a realm beyond my sight, Lauren, I commanded. Which option shall we choose? With a deliberate motion, she grasped the white-fitted tee and raised it high, examining its form with intent. She gazed at it for a fleeting moment longer, then turned her eyes toward me. This one, she declared. A triumphant smile spread across my face. Very well, I accept it. What makes that one stand out? Her response emerged with a softness that was utterly unexpected from her. Not soft in a timid manner. Gentle in its essence, as if something escapes just beyond reach before one can grasp it. It is rooted in truth. You truly embody your essence in it. I let out a small chuckle. That is precisely the direction I am aiming for. I desire for her to recognize that I am being genuine. Lauren remained silent, her expression unyielding. Lauren grasped the white-fitted tee with deliberate grace, lifting it high for all to see. She gazed at it for a fleeting moment longer, then turned her eyes toward me. The atmosphere in the room shifted dramatically in an instant. Words eluded me, and I found myself unable to identify anything concrete. Yet, an undeniable change had swept through the air. An elusive transformation that eluded my grasp of language. Just as I was on the verge of speaking, desperate to shatter the peculiar tension that had enveloped us, I felt the urgency of the moment pressing down. Just as I was about to act, Lauren and Appo's gaze met mine. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. Remaining composed, not a single tear cascading down her face. It's that haunting, shimmering gaze that emerges just before an individual succumbs to the internal struggle they've been waging. My smile slowly vanished. She parted her lips, hesitated, then parted them once more. When the words finally emerged, they flowed forth with clarity and intensity. They emerged as the truth often does when one can no longer bear its weight in solitude. Can you not see, Ryan? Is Zert present? She inhaled deeply, then drew in another breath. And then she uttered it once more, with a clarity that pierced through the air, as if the initial version had merely been a rehearsal and this was the moment of truth. My heart is captivated by you. Every part of me froze in that moment. My mind, typically adept at conjuring insightful thoughts to fill the void, yielded an utter blank. I stood there, 2 shirts draped over my arm, my mouth agape, utterly speechless, as if the very words had fled from me. Lauren and Appo's expression transformed the moment those 3 words escaped her lips. Their fleeting courage, which had propelled them forward, appeared to evaporate in an instant. Her jaw clenched with intensity. Her gaze fell to the ground, heavy with unspoken thoughts. In a swift motion, she averted her gaze from me. With a swift determination, she advanced in just 4 steps, reaching the front door and pulling it open with a flourish. Disregard my previous statement. She spoke to me, her voice strained and taut, as if she were desperately clinging to the fragments of her composure with unwavering determination. Simply depart. Kindly, Ryan. Simply depart. The cool night air surged through the open door, filling the space with an invigorating chill. I approached it, shrouded in a thick haze. I emerged onto her porch, the air thick with anticipation. The door clicked shut behind me, a sound both gentle and irrevocable. I lingered on her front steps, the weight of the moment hanging in the air. Shirts clutched tightly in my hands, the neighborhood stood still, untouched by the chaos that had unfolded, as if time itself had paused in disbelief. Yet, an unforeseen event had transpired. An uncharted territory I was completely unprepared for. I made my way back with deliberate slowness. As I approached my front door, a tremor coursed through my hands. I lingered on my porch, the weight of the moment pressing down on me, before finally stepping inside. Lauren and Appo's voice echoed relentlessly in my mind. Not the entire sentence. This is merely the inception of an extraordinary journey. Can you not see, Ryan? The manner in which she expressed it. Not unkind. Subdued. It was as if a powerful force she had restrained for ages had surged forth, breaking free against her will. I chose not to attend the date. While it may appear clear to many in that pivotal moment, I was compelled to make the decision with full awareness. With a surge of anticipation, I reached for my phone and dialed Sophie Reynolds and Appo's number. She picked up on the second ring, her journey downtown already underway. I expressed my sincerest apologies, explaining that an unforeseen circumstance had arisen, preventing me from being fully present. She truly deserves more than a dinner companion who is not entirely engaged this evening. After a brief pause, she finally spoke, conveying her understanding with a sense of gravity. She handled it with remarkable grace. I felt utterly dreadful regardless. Once the call ended, I stepped inside, carelessly tossed the shirts onto the back of a chair, and sank into the couch. The house was enveloped in an eerie silence. Lauren and Appo's face lingered in my thoughts, captivating and unforgettable. The instant those words escaped her lips, her expression shattered, revealing a tumultuous storm of emotions beneath. She spun toward the door with such urgency, as if desperate to escape the weight of her own words. Disregard my previous statement. Simply depart. Kindly proceed. Those few words were laden with an overwhelming sense of humiliation. A profound sense of regret lingers. And I had just stepped out. I remained utterly silent. What was I meant to express? The question gnawed at my mind, relentless and consuming. As I reflected on the countless moments spent at Lauren and Appo's house throughout the years, a wave of nostalgia washed over me. She always had a feast prepared for Jake and me whenever we visited during high school. In a moment of crisis, she rushed me to urgent care after I had dramatically sliced my hand open on a jagged window frame, all while Jake was away on his trip. Every single year, without fail, she would send me a heartfelt birthday message. Even during the years when Jake overlooked the occasion, she consistently illuminated the porch light late into the night, regardless of whether Jake was returning home or not. I had always viewed it through a singular lens, never daring to see it from another perspective. She was the mother of Jake. That was the box I had confined her within, and I had secured the lid with unwavering determination. But now the lid had been removed. I grasped my phone thrice only to set it down once more. What words could I possibly choose in a text to transform this situation for the better? Apologies for my abrupt departure. Your words required immense bravery, and I should have acknowledged that in the moment. It appeared that mere words on a screen were insufficient to resolve the situation. That night sleep eluded me, leaving me restless and on edge. In the stillness of the night, I found myself gazing at the ceiling, the distant sound of passing cars echoing in the background, as my mind raced with thoughts of a woman I had known for years, now appearing to me in an entirely different light. Unchanged. Freshly arrived. Like a familiar melody that has played countless times, there comes a moment when the lyrics resonate with profound clarity. I found myself at a crossroads, grappling with an overwhelming sensation that I couldn't and Appo's simply dismiss. 3 days of silence stretches out, echoing far beyond its mere duration. When an individual you engage with nearly every week abruptly falls silent, the absence becomes apparent in subtle, yet unmistakable ways. Your hand hovers over your phone, poised to unleash a moment of levity, but suddenly you hesitate, reconsidering the impulse. As you steer into your driveway, a familiar instinct compels you to look over, anticipating the flicker of movement, the warm glow of a light, or perhaps a fleeting shadow dancing behind the kitchen curtain. Yet an unsettling stillness greets you. There is nothing. Once a vibrant home, now a silent shell of its former self. By day 3, the silence had transformed from mere discomfort to a weighty presence in my chest, akin to an immovable stone that I could not cast aside. On Tuesday morning, I found myself at a job site, engaged in the critical task of replacing a corroded water main nestled beneath a house in a neighborhood 2 towns away. The crawl space was constricted, with a low ceiling and damp earth, presenting a challenge that required unwavering focus. One misstep could unleash a torrent of water, drenching you in an instant. Tyler Brooks, my coworker, was outside overseeing the shutoff with precision and authority. I found myself beneath it all, gripping the wrench tightly. As I was deep in connection, my phone suddenly buzzed in my pocket, interrupting the moment with an unexpected thrill. I chose to overlook it. Then it buzzed once more, electrifying the atmosphere. I extracted it, despite knowing I shouldn't oppose. Have and I awkwardly mishandled the fitting. Water erupted violently, striking me squarely on the side of the face just as Tyler Brooks cut the line. Tyler Brooks crawled in a minute later, his eyes locking onto me as I lay there, drenched and vulnerable on the ground. "Are you well?" "Indeed," I admitted. "I simply lost my concentration." He cast a fleeting glance in my direction, as if a question lingered on the tip of his tongue, waiting for the right moment to emerge. With a swift motion, he thrust a rag into my hands before returning to his tasks, leaving me momentarily stunned. I felt a surge of relief that he chose not to pursue the matter further. The messages arrived from Jake, inquiring about the camping trip we had tentatively scheduled for next month. Ordinary matters. In that fleeting moment, as the buzz coursed through me, my heart jolted to the side, an inexplicable surge of emotion that left me breathless. In that moment, I realized the gravity of the situation was impacting me far deeper than I had been willing to acknowledge. That night, I reached out to Lauren with a message. I made it concise. 5 powerful words. "Greetings. How are you faring today?" For a gripping 20 minutes, I was transfixed by the screen. Just one check mark. Not just 2. She had yet to unveil it. I placed my phone face down on the counter, steeling myself to finally sit down and eat dinner. Scrambled eggs, a quick solution born from 4 days without a grocery run. As I sat at the kitchen table, solitude enveloped me while I ate, desperately pushing aside the haunting memory of how just 2 months prior, I would have eagerly knocked on her door, inviting her to share in the culinary delights she was preparing. The door seemed to stretch into the distance, an elusive barrier in this moment. Wednesday arrived with a flourish and swiftly departed. On Thursday, as I navigated the familiar route home from work, I caught sight of a bakery that stirred a vivid memory, her undeniable fondness for lemon pound cake. The variety adorned with a luscious, thick glaze on its surface. It was a serendipitous discovery, one that unfolded on a fateful afternoon when Jake and I, fresh from a thrilling baseball game, decided to drop in. She boldly ordered 2 slices, unapologetic, declaring that life was far too fleeting to share dessert. I have come to a halt, my vehicle now at rest. I stepped inside with anticipation. I acquired a slice meticulously wrapped in pristine white paper and set off towards her residence, anticipation coursing through me. I made no attempt to knock. I found myself hesitating, unprepared to make that decisive knock just yet. Uncertainty gripped me as I contemplated the moment the door might swing open. With stealthy precision I approached, placing the bag delicately on the welcome mat before retreating to my car. I took a moment to pause on the street, not in an unusual manner. I simply had to be certain that she would notice it. Approximately 15 minutes later, the porch light flickered to life. The door creaked open, revealing just enough space for a hand to emerge and seize the bag with urgency. Suddenly, the light extinguished once more. No message. There was no knock at my door. Absolutely nothing. Yet she had seized it. In that moment, a solitary hand stretching into the abyss for a simple paper bag ignited a spark within me, propelling me forward for yet another day. Friday proved to be a greater challenge. I arrived at work, executed my responsibilities with precision, returned home, and found myself in a house that echoed with an unsettling silence. I contemplated reaching out to Jake, yet that would unleash an entire dialogue I was not prepared to engage in. Jake remained blissfully unaware of the unfolding events. To the best of his knowledge, life had carried on with its usual rhythm. Life had taken an unexpected turn. I retired early, my gaze fixed upon the ceiling once more, lost in thought. My mind was consumed by thoughts of Lauren. The expression on her face as she uttered those words was unforgettable. The tension in the air, the anticipation building, and then the inevitable moment just before the fall from grace. She clutched the white shirt tightly, her fingers sinking into the fabric as her gaze drifted into the distance, lost in thought. In the stillness of the night, I realized I had overlooked it entirely in the moment. Yet now, enveloped in darkness, the truth emerged vividly before me. She had not merely spoken without thought. She had been harboring that emotion for an eternity. The weight of that thought took root within me, transforming my perspective entirely. Saturday emerged, cloaked in a somber gray, moving with an unhurried pace. In a moment of determination, I tackled the challenge of a leaking faucet in my kitchen, seeking to engage my hands in a purposeful endeavor. I meticulously reorganized the tools in my truck. I embarked on an exhilarating journey, driving aimlessly with no particular destination in mind. An hour later I returned, feeling neither improved nor diminished in spirit. By that evening, a profound realization had taken root within me, leading to a decisive choice. I could continue to grant her the freedom she needs. I could continue to place subtle tokens on her doorstep, eagerly anticipating a sign from her. Or I could embrace my true emotions and cease the charade of believing that the silence was a state I could endure forever. I felt no anger. Clarity had finally dawned upon me regarding her words. The week had undeniably dismantled every justification I had clung to, forcing me to confront the reality that Lauren Bennett no longer belonged in a confining box of my own making. I rose from the couch with purpose. As I stepped out of my front door, a wave of anticipation washed over me. As I traversed the brief expanse of sidewalk that separated our homes, the refreshing evening breeze enveloped me. With a surge of determination, I approached her door and knocked, silencing any doubts that threatened to hold me back. The street lay in an eerie stillness, enveloping me in its silence. A dog unleashed a fierce bark from somewhere down the block, echoing through the air with an intensity that demanded attention. The car glided by with an air of suspense. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed from within. After what felt like an eternity, she finally approached the door, her footsteps echoing in the silence. It felt like an eternity, tempting me to abandon my path and retreat to the safety of my home. The minutes stretched on and I couldn't oppose. Shake the thought that perhaps she intended to leave me standing there until dawn, a fate I had undoubtedly earned. Suddenly, the faint echo of footsteps reached my ears, and the door creaked open with a deliberate slowness. Lauren appeared transformed, unrecognizable from the person I had known throughout my entire life. Not in an overly intense manner. Not in a manner that lends itself to straightforward identification and description. It felt as though a shadow had subtly dimmed the brilliance within her gaze. Her shoulders hung with a weight that spoke volumes. Her face was ashen. She donned a weathered gray cardigan draped over a simple white shirt, her hair swept back casually, with a few rebellious strands cascading across her forehead. Her gaze pierced through me, filled with an intense longing, as if she yearned for something just beyond her reach, a desire tempered by the weight of resignation. She uttered my name. Only my name. Nothing more to say. I inquired, "May I enter?" Only for a brief moment. "I'm here to simplify the process, not complicate it. I urgently require a moment of your time to discuss something important." She stood there, the moment stretching into what seemed like an eternity. In that moment, she gracefully stepped aside. The interior of her house struck me with an intensity one had never experienced before. Throughout the years, I had stepped into that living room a staggering 200 times. I was acutely aware of the floorboard that let out a haunting creak near the hallway. The scent of the candle she had placed on the bookshelf was unmistakable to me. The lamp in the corner cast a captivating warm yellow circle upon the ceiling, illuminating the space with an enchanting glow. Yet that night, everything felt cold and distant. The chilling cup of tea rests ominously on the coffee table, a silent testament to time and Appo's passage. The blanket lay bunched at one end of the couch, a testament to her solitary presence in that moment. The profound silence enveloping a home that typically resonated with the gentle melodies of soft music in the background. It became clear that she had been suffering in silence for days. We settled onto the couch, anticipation hanging in the air. Far from it, the distance between us was vast, an expanse that seemed to stretch endlessly, as if it were a mile apart. A heavy silence enveloped us, each second stretching into eternity. In that moment, Lauren cast her gaze upon her hands, and with a surge of emotion, she began to speak. She confessed that she regretted ever uttering those words. She confessed to having relived that moment 100 times, each instance filled with a desperate longing to retract the words, to snatch them from the air and consume them entirely. She recounted how she witnessed my expression that night, the astonishment etched upon it, the way I froze in place, and in that moment, she realized she had transformed something pure and uncomplicated into a tangled web of complexity. She offered an apology, hesitated for a moment, and then swiftly delivered another before I had the chance to reply. I allowed her to complete her thoughts. I refrained from interrupting. As the silence enveloped the room, I turned to her and declared, and quote, "Lauren, enough with the apologies," end quote. Her gaze met mine with intensity. I assured her you Haven and Appo's tea destroyed anything. You truly startled me. There exists a distinction. She shook her head slowly, a look of disbelief etched across her face. Thus I continued to speak. I revealed the unvarnished truth to her, laying it all bare in stark, unembellished terms. The week without her lingered in my mind, an unsettling presence I couldn't and Appo's tea quite dispel. Not exactly sorrowful, but rather unsettling, as if something once known had been stealthily taken away, leaving me to grasp at the void, only to encounter an absence. I confided in her that I had replayed it in my mind far more often than I cared to acknowledge. I confided in her that each time I attempted to set it aside and carry on with my day, a seemingly insignificant detail would inevitably draw me back to thoughts of her. The coffee shop nestled on her street, the thrilling crack of a baseball bat echoing from a nearby TV, the enchanting glow of the porch light next door illuminating the night. Lauren remained utterly motionless as I spoke. Her gaze had shifted away from her hands, no longer captivated by their presence. Her gaze was intense, scrutinizing my expression as if she were deciphering the truth behind my words, searching for sincerity amidst the kindness I offered. I failed to show kindness. I was forthright, and it was crucial for her to grasp the distinction. I am not present out of pity for you. I made it clear that my purpose is not to soothe your feelings regarding your words. My presence here is a testament to how deeply I long for you. For too long, I have remained ensnared in a familiar gaze, hesitant to confront the deeper questions that linger beneath the surface. She fell silent for what felt like an eternity, a moment stretched thin with anticipation. Then she revealed a truth that took me completely by surprise. She revealed to me that it had not begun recently. She revealed that it had stealthily approached her, unfolding gradually over the years. The manner in which I arrived for Jake in his time of need and remained steadfast, even in moments when he seemed indifferent. In a moment of unexpected initiative, I took it upon myself to repair the leaking faucet in her bathroom, all without a word of request. Afterward, I found myself seated at her kitchen table, engaged in a 2-hour conversation that danced around the trivial, yet somehow felt significant. She declared that she had mastered the art of folding it down, pressing it flat, convincing herself it was merely fondness, merely familiarity. Yet, with each step I took across her threshold, the weight of disbelief in her excuses grew heavier. She gazed at me, her voice barely above a whisper, and quote, "I kept waiting for it to vanish," and quote, "It never came to pass." Initially, I found myself at a loss for words in response to that. Thus, I proclaimed the singular truth I was certain of. I refused to let you slip away, not in the manner of our past, and perhaps not merely for that reason alone. However, I cannot commit to something I have not completely resolved, as you deserve more than a response that lacks full sincerity." Her eyes brimmed with emotion. She held back the tears, refusing to let them escape. She remained seated among them, her eyes blinking deliberately, as if savoring the moment. "I'm older than you," she declared, her voice carrying a weight that suggested she was grappling with the truth of her own words more than addressing me. "I understand I mentioned that Jake is your closest companion. I am well aware of that as well. This is far from simple, Ryan." Indeed, I concurred. However, I believe that simplicity is not what either of us truly requires. Her gaze lingered on me, heavy with unspoken words and emotions. A gaze that conceals a whirlwind of unspoken thoughts and emotions, quietly captivating all who dare to meet it. It unfolded with a deliberate slowness, akin to witnessing a captivating scene play out before your very eyes. With a decisive nod, she affirmed her stance. "Take it slow," she commanded. "This is not a question. State of affairs." A boundary she extended with meticulous precision, cradled delicately in both hands. "Slow down," I commanded, my voice firm and unwavering. "Absolutely no pressure. Take your time. Simply sincere." She released a breath that echoed with the weight of a week's worth of tension held deep within her chest. We refrained from embracing. We remained apart on the couch, the space between us palpable. As I rose to depart, she accompanied me to the door, an unexpected gesture that lingered in the air. As I prepared to step outside, her voice resonated with gratitude and quote, "Thank you for coming back," end quote. I pivoted and beheld her poised in the doorway, that familiar cardigan enveloping her figure. Eyes, though still somewhat glassy, exhibit a newfound steadiness. I refused to simply walk away, I declared to her. Every word I spoke was filled with conviction. That night, I navigated the road home with a deliberate slowness. The street lay in a hushed stillness, an eerie calm enveloping the surroundings. A silence that resonates with purpose, brimming with significance rather than void of meaning. As I stepped inside and settled onto my couch, I chose not to flick on the TV. I remained in the shadows for a moment, reflecting on the expression that crossed her face when she uttered the word end quote. Slow, end quote, unyielding, filled with a sense of unease, yet clinging to a flicker of hope. With a cautiousness born from past wounds, they approached the situation with a deliberate resolve, determined to embrace the possibility of new beginnings. It held a significance for me, far beyond what I had anticipated. 3 days following that pivotal conversation, my phone vibrated with urgency just after 9 in the evening. As I slipped into my comfortable sweats and began warming up the remnants of yesterday and Appo's meal, a sudden jolt of anticipation surged through me when her name illuminated the screen. The message was brief, indicating that I had prepared an excessive amount of chicken soup. "The doors are wide open should you desire to partake." I gazed intently at that message, my heart racing with anticipation. With a decisive flick, I extinguished the flames of the stove, seized my keys with purpose, and strode boldly across the street. Thus the journey began. Not with a grand spectacle, not through a speech or a declaration, only a simple bowl of soup on a weeknight, accompanied by an unlocked door, inviting the unknown. As I entered, I found Lauren poised at the kitchen counter, expertly ladling steaming soup into 2 bowls. She navigated the situation with grace. With a flourish, she presented me with a bowl. I gestured toward the kitchen table and commanded end quote, "Sit," end quote, as if I had reverted to my former self, stripped of all pretense. As if the burdens of the past fortnight had been meticulously gathered and placed on hold, awaiting their moment to resurface. We dined and engaged in conversation. She recounted the harrowing experience of a challenging patient she had encountered that day. An elderly man, defiant in his refusal to adhere to any care instructions, somehow managed to bring laughter to every nurse on the floor.